In a game where Caitlyn Clark was getting hacked left and right and the refs did nothing, fans were screaming one thing: do something. And Sophie Cunningham? She understood the assignment.
Gonna go coast to coast. And we got another.
There is currently a petition to ban Sophie Cunningham from the WNBA, and it has 114 signatures. The petition was started as though Sophie Cunningham was attacking the WNBA as a full-fledged Marvel supervillain, and her response, let's just say, was a highlight montage laced with extra sass and swagger instead of an apology. If anyone was expecting tears of regret or even a quiet moment of, they obviously don't know Sophie, because she came with clapbacks, energy, and a mic drop so powerful that it reverberated through the league's echo chamber. Hey, that's a blatant foul. This was the most G-beast mode thing I've ever seen a woman do in WMA history. Sophie simply turned cancel culture into her own comedy roast special. And if you're rooting for Sophie, you'll want popcorn for what comes next. Let's look at Sophie Cunningham's response to all of this in terms of her tweets below. For example, if you didn't see Sophie Cunningham's retweets, she has responded to the petition by simply retweeting a frickin' post about her jury being sold out. This is a response that is, quote, tweeting her the petition like that is the best way to go about it. When she saw that petition, she literally laughed mid-lunge as if she was performing lunges during warm-ups, and she looked up from the bench and said, "Did someone summon me? Forget redemption." This is full-on glitter-covered retaliation in high definition. Now everyone knows who Sophie Cunningham is. Everyone wants a piece of Sophie Cunningham's jersey. She retweeted the call to ban her, not sarcastically, but gleefully, because Sophie isn't just ignoring the drama, she's refueling on it like it's a triple shot espresso in a protein shake. Most popular woman in the WNBA, Caitlyn Clark, had her jersey surpassed by Sophie Cunningham. Why is that significant? Well, let's talk about that tweet. It wasn't just a passive retweet. It was a royal decree level of petty, where the subtext screamed, "Thanks for the free promo, digital knuckles were cracked." I believe that one of the new trends in the WNBA is that in addition to being good at basketball, some of these women will also look like women. If you were worried that Sophie would break under the weight of online outrage, welcome to your first lesson from Sophie Cunningham. She doesn't back down from criticism. Instead, she leans in and takes criticism well, and she hits send with her trademark smirk. The petition, which read like fans who wandered into a WNBA soap opera and couldn't handle a woman playing defense with heart, was a masterpiece of overreaction and group meltdown disguised as activism. However, the important truth is that Sophie isn't dirty, she's deliberate. There's a difference between disorder and discipline, and people have obviously forgotten that when she gets physical. I like Sophie's toughness. I want to play the clip of her with the girl all right here. Here we go. Here we go. Here your girl Sophie. Go at it, knocked away. Good hands by it. But Sheldon jumps up with a steal. Watch it, coast to coast. What's up? And here we got another break here as G.H.G. Sheldon goes right. Someone started it. But she's not out here throwing the first brick. She's responding with structural integrity and maybe a little glittery vengeance. This isn't a foul, it's family. You come at the fever, you're gonna feel the heat, and the league will debate technical and flagrant ones all day long. Sophie operates by a different rule book, protecting the squad at all costs. After he fooled you that was a hard foul and she never got into the headlock because she messed up with her teammates, one eyebrow is raised toward Caitlyn Clark, and Sophie charges like a human wrecking ball powered by emotional justice. Sophie Cunningham, also known as the enforcer and Caitlyn Clark's bodyguard, defended the face of basketball and America fell in love. Her role as the WNBA's most unlikely folk hero is, guess whose jersey sold out today? I've never seen so many people agree on one thing on Twitter as they did last night. I also realized that you wouldn't want to fight Sophie Cunningham after seeing this headlock, not just for Caitlyn Clark fans or Indiana supporters, but also for anyone watching the sport and asking, wait a second, where's the consistency? Don't understand how she doesn't have 1 million followers or more by now. I've never really had an opinion on the NBA or WNBA because I've never cared to watch it. It's always been boring. Since Caitlyn Clark, it's been interesting to watch, but now Sophie Cunningham will do it. Sophie has linebacker energy, meme queen timing, and the emotional patience of someone who is completely out of patience. This is the Cinderella story with sneakers and a side of rage. Play about her teammate, these girls, and this combination makes it so worth watching. I've heard that she's a black belt too. What are you gonna do about it? Go follow Sophie, girl. They wanted her to be quiet, sidelined, and embarrassed, but instead they got a viral headline machine with a playbook full of righteous rage. She's not angry for the sake of drama. She's had enough. She spent weeks and months watching her teammate, Caitlyn Clark, take cheap shots from all sides, endure slander, and somehow be expected to smile through it all. Send out texts and eject players as if it were a spin-the-wheel party, but every time the fever gets the most attention. Could you please explain how JCS Sheldon charges into Sophie like a linebacker with no brakes, and that's passion? Sophie responds, and the internet acts as though she launched a missile at center court. This isn't just bias, it's absurdity wrapped in selective memory. Sheldon's shoulder didn't lower. Instead, it changed into a tactical battering ram. Caitlyn Clark and the Indiana Fever were getting checked. The referees allowed the Indiana Fever to continue playing basketball in such a physical manner throughout the entire game. And eventually, Sophie Cunningham had enough. Oh yes, Sophie Cunningham had enough people who shouted out to her, saying, I'm tired of this, I'm trying to step up, it's time to step up. We're not gonna get punked anymore. We're not gonna get pushed around anymore. We're not gonna be treated like a little sister anymore. We are not gonna be treated like a little brother anymore. We are gonna begin being the one who says, you know what? We're not gonna start the fight, but we damn sure will finish it. Sophie took that blow like a pro, hardly blinking, and reacted with the emotionally charged precision of all elite enforcers. It wasn't anger, but measured correction. You shake her balance, and you feel it's not violence, but vengeance measured in pounds per square inch. What no one tells you, though, is that Sophie never intended to be the league's rebel icon. She didn't come for fame. Sophie Cunningham stood on bits about her dear friend Caitlyn Clark, and I can say that what she did was honorable. I'm sorry, bro, I will always defend this. Sophie came for fairness. All she wanted was a consistent rule book that applied regardless of jersey color or social media popularity. However, when the league made it clear that the bullies were here to stay, Sophie said, fine, let's go. She's not just a player anymore, she's a cultural shift, the kind of athlete who doesn't need a crisis manager because she is the crisis and the comeback rolled into one. Meanwhile, the critics are disbelieving. They've never seen a woman respond to cancel culture with such charisma and viral comebacks. The more they boo, the louder the cheers get. Every defensive play now feels like a trailer for the action sequel of the season. So Sophie's not just defending the rim, is standing up for her team's right to play hard without being portrayed as criminals. She took down someone, and when they tried to attack her, she used one hand to hold them off while using the other to put them in a Muay Thai hold. It appeared as though she would have just started an MMA fight, bringing the head down to the knee like you do. I'm taking Sophie Cunningham over Lindsay Allen and JC Sheldon, so Sophie Cunningham isn't showing signs of being wild. Yes, her response crossed into physical territory, and yes, she sent a clear message that you can press us, but we'll press back with force. While Caitlyn Clark was being roughed up, Sophie stood tall and refused to remain silent. She saw the whispers at the end line, saw the subtext fouls, and said, not today. Somewhere in the chaos, Sophie became the WNBA's new symbol of unapologetic strength, not because she thought it, but since she forged it with every shoulder shove and side eye on social media. Sophie Cunningham naturally replied with a shrug, but she also retweeted this. Despite the fact that there have been numerous posts about Sophie Cunningham jerseys selling out completely, this is the only one that is actually the only one that is quote tweeting. WNBA fans have. She didn't start the fire, but she certainly knows how to use the heat. The haters don't understand that you can't cancel someone who has already accepted their villain arc, so Sophie leaned in and dressed it up. Now, the very people who demanded that she be removed are watching her rise, not just as a player, but as a movement. Go ahead and reopen that petition and scroll through those signatures that look like tears because every protest only gives her more momentum. Storm is planning it, and if you think this is her finale, think again. Sophie has only just started the prelude. She is a good basketball player who is standing up for Caitlyn Clark. And then, watch the video when we first played her. I simply believe that she has had a lot of pressure on her shoulders, and I believe that many people have not followed in her footsteps. As a result, it's very easy to criticize and say things, but ultimately, we must all support and encourage one another. She has done a lot for each other, in my opinion, and the rookie class has also drawn a lot of attention to our league, which is needed. Since this is what we've always wanted, why wouldn't we embrace them and make sure they're okay? When we first played them, I told them to keep doing what they were doing, thinking that they were doing a great job, and if they ever needed anything, they should be contacted. Now let's talk about the vigilant referees, those traffic cones and stripes, who saw a full-body collision and thought it was appropriate to diffuse the tension, instead brought folding chairs to a gladiatorial match and failed to remember which team was taking hits. This is entirely their fault, and if they had handled the situation sooner, we would be in this predicament now. The way the game played out, the referees' egregious behavior, and their failure to protect players, especially the league's top player and biggest draw, Caitlyn Clark, are all examples of their failure to do so. She will defend her teammate, and she did that in that. Then there was the double shove on Caitlyn Clark. It wasn't a gentle pat, it wasn't a scrimmage, it was a full-force physics class gone rogue, and two angles of shoulder caused damage like a clumsy experiment in contact mechanics, and nothing changed at all. Marina Mubry stayed on the court, Sheldon stayed, and Sophie stood by herself. The only referee in a room of complacency. Meanwhile, the league gave its performance-based gasp. Oh, we just reviewed 8 which wasn't a good public relations Band-Aid on a bullet wound, masquerading as progress, but where was the whistle when Caitlyn went down like a dodgeball casualty in dystopia? Upgrading fouls after the final horn is like sending prayers and thoughts after a house burns down. So you can't claw someone in the eye, eject her, eject both of them, so there's nothing there, nothing there. J.C. Shan claws her in the eye, and then the two of them get into it. Then Moore might just go ahead and shove her to the ground, dejecting both of them, dejecting both of them, dejecting both of them. That eye poke, zero technical. Only Sophie felt the impact, lining her couch. She blinked in shock as if she had wandered onto a football field in ballet flats, and the referees yawned. Then came Kathy's blindside shove, which you won't see, but don't worry, Sophie, every camera caught it. This wasn't physicality, it was sneak attack land, but nothing happened, and no Sophie lash out or react.